don't see nothing special in Crawford. I don't know why everyone's scared of him.
Come Saturday, he gonna find out how hard I bite. I ain't even gotta do too much talking, cause I know what's gonna happen come Saturday.
Spotless. Check it. Check it.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, and I'm here to bring you unbiased boxing facts. Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Bud Crawford, welterweight war. Alright, y'all, so it's a new day, new news to bring to the boxing public. Today I want to talk about the facts of Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Bud Crawford. I want to start off by talking about what can we look forward to when we get the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fight finally announced.
I'm trying to imagine what it's going to be like with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford both face to face. Errol Spence with 3 belts, Terence Crawford 1 belt. I can't wait to hear the kind of information that's going to come out. There's going to be a lot of things that Errol Spence is going to say y'all lied about.
Me personally, I think it's going to come down to 4 factors: the press conference, training, rehydration clause, and will there be a knockout? Let's start with the press conference. Why do I think that the press conference is going to play a role within this fight? I feel like a lot of things are going to get aired out when it comes to these press conferences and whatever behind the scenes with the fighters before all the fights. And I'm sure this fight is so big, Showtime will have something similar to show the behind the scenes and give behind the scenes interviews. A lot will be said in those interviews. At that point, nothing will be left to the imagination. I do believe that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. will finally open up about why this fight took so long, who's really to blame for it not getting made a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Was it money that was holding the fight up? Was it Bob Arum? Or was it one of the 2 fighters that were keeping this fight from actually coming to fruition? Next, I think that training will play a huge role. After the press conferences and everything gets aired out, I think then people will start focusing on the training and how both of these fighters look. And I think people will then start basing the winner more off of what they've seen from training videos, sparring sessions, the fitness of the 2 fighters. I think the training of both guys, is it a more focus on speed, power? Are the sparring partners, people that we know? Are they fighters that we are used to? Or are they lower level sparring partners? Is one guy really hurt? A lot of this stuff comes out when they start training, and there's been rumors about all of that, about guys getting hurt in sparring, getting knocked out in sparring. There's been rumors of Terence Crawford possibly being hurt. There are rumors that Errol Spence is holding up the fight. So I think once training starts, and then you start getting those live interviews from like ES News and Fight Hype, things like that, even more will get aired out as far as the conditioning and what the game plans are for both fighters. And then we get to go into the super fight. It's going to be amazing when these 2 guys get into the ring. They are both still in the prime of their careers. So a lot of people think that the fight is past its prime, but I think that both of these fighters are just prime enough to give us one of the greatest boxing shows, and perhaps a rematch or a trilogy that we've ever seen in this generation of boxing. I don't know if they can match the warrior mentality of the last generation with so many amazing fighters, from Tyson to Mayweather to Pacquiao. So I don't know if they can surpass some of those wars that we've seen in the past, but I think that they can set a new precedent for this generation of fighters. And both of these fighters are so talented. We're either going to get the most amazing fight we've ever seen, or we will see a stalemate like Maypac. And then you go into, once again, rehydration. I feel like that's going to play a role. I think the rehydration, because Errol Spence is the naturally bigger of the two fighters, and Terence Crawford seems like he's trying to bulk up for some reason, maybe to match the body mass of Errol Spence, thinking that he can absorb more punches after seeing what happened to Ugas. He might not want to incur that type of damage, so he's bulking up so he can absorb more punches. I don't know if it's for power, because I definitely think it will slow him down and his speed down. And I think that it's going to take a level off of Terence Crawford that he doesn't need to take off. But that's me personally. But rehydration for Errol Spence, I think since he's the naturally bigger of the two fighters, does he have to be the exact weight the full day all the way up until the fight, or can he rehydrate it up to his natural weight? And that's going to play a big factor. If he's that much bigger than Terence Crawford, to me, it's only going to take for him to lean on Crawford, land some good body shots, suck up a bunch of the early rounds, and then try to power Crawford out of the fight later on in the later rounds of this super undisputed welterweight fight. And then we go into the end of the fight. Will there be a KO? I know a lot of people feel like the chance of a KO is more on the side of Terence Crawford because of what he's done at 140 and 130. He hasn't lost a welterweight fight. You know, Errol Spence hasn't lost a fight either, but he's won all of his welterweight fights by knockout, except for Shawn Porter. A lot of people lean on that to feel like, well, if there's going to be a knockout in this fight, it's going to be Terence Bud Crawford who scores it. I feel the opposite. I think that, once again, because of the rehydration, we don't know if that's in there or not. We don't know if that's what the lawyers are cleaning up in the paperwork. But I think if there is a rehydration clause and Spence is allowed to balloon up to whatever weight he possibly can, then the chance of a knockout is more to his advantage because of the size difference. Now, we've seen smaller fighters beat up much bigger fighters in the past, i.e. Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, or Margarito. Terence Crawford's not that much smaller than Errol Spence Jr., so I don't see it being some super amazing speed difference between these two fighters. I think the difference comes in styles and techniques and power punching. That's where to me, the difference comes in. And if you ask me, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a chess match in the beginning. I think you're going to see Terence Crawford try to outmaneuver Errol Spence. You're going to see Errol Spence try to lean on Crawford, land body shots. Crawford try to use his feet to stay away from Errol Spence doing that to him. And in the later rounds, I think both fighters make it past the 6th round. You're going to see Terence Crawford's energy levels start to turn down. And that's when Errol Spence comes alive. Because he doesn't make a lot of movement, then he can conserve a lot more energy than Terence Crawford can. And since he's bigger, he doesn't have to exert as much energy. He can put that energy on to Terence Crawford to tire him out. And I think that's when Errol Spence Jr. scores the knockout. Body shot, lights out, it's over. He's the undisputed champion of the world. Y'all let me know what y'all think about down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford. And we are Manny.
Yeah.